Right. Hello. Thank you all for joining today. My name is Dan Rafter. I'm the Principal Product Architect here at Flywheel. Very excited to talk to you all today about streamlining your ophthalmology imaging data with our scalable management and analysis tools that we have inside Flywheel. Starting off, ophthalmology is a growing area across multiple verticals inside the research space. A number of really incredible things happening here, both on the AMC and pharma side. The number of new trials coming in over the last couple of years, with a overall market value of 1.5 billion, with anticipated growth of 6.6% between now and 2030. We've also seen a number of increases in funding on both the government side and the sponsor side. So the NIH, via the National Eye Institute, funded about 1,200 grants in 2024 with a budget of $896 million. And globally, across both med device and pharma, we're seeing increased spend inside ophthalmology, which is incredible. There have also been a number of key breakthroughs that are helping to propel this change around AI applications, gene therapy, stem cells therapy, as well as minimally invasive surgical techniques. There's a number of disease processes that have targeted focus across these verticals, including age-related macular degeneration, looking at how can we decrease or slow that choroidal neovascularization and geographic atrophy with anti-VEGF, complement inhibitors, as well as gene therapy. We've got diabetic retinopathy and macular edema, which is another very large area, particularly inside the Flywheel customer base that folks are working on, looking at reducing that retinal vascular leakage and neovascularization again with that anti-VEGF focus, some corticosteroids, as well as Rho kinase inhibitors. And glaucoma is the third. How do we decrease that intraocular pressure, saving the optic nerve from increased damage with prostaglandin analogs, Rho kinase inhibitors, and anything we can do to be neuroprotective. Ultimately, we also are trying to apply AI. It is the hot button topic for everyone in the world right now, inside medicine as well as outside. And so when we start to think about ways in which AI can be applied, particularly in the ophthalmology space, there's a number of different ways that this can be used. Thinking about disease diagnosis and screening. I'm going in for my scan. Yes, the experts are reviewing your images and doing their interpretation, but can we use AI to find early signs of disease processes so we can get you started on a medication sooner, save more of your vision, and ultimately get you a better output? Retinal image analysis is another large area, particularly inside the Flywheel customer base today. If you think about it, going through and actually finding all of the different pathologies and anatomic markers inside the eye requires expertise. It requires time. It's manual, it's laborious, and anything we can do to help auto-segment, auto-detect different things and do some early quantitative analysis on the images saves a bunch of time, and really is going to be, I think, a key focus for the ophthalmology space moving forward. We've also got a number of different ways to do, personalized treatment planning, surgical assistance, outcome as we're in there doing these minimally invasive procedures, drug discovery, trial recruitment, patient management and monitoring, education and research. We have medical students learning about ophthalmology. We've got residents, fellows, continuing education that can be assisted through AI applications. And of course, then we also have, pathology. As we have the images from the eye themselves, we also then often have the opportunity to get a histopath slide from whatever we're looking at, and that is even more complex. So having ways to apply AI to those slides is huge. I just wanted to call out three of the key kind of breakthroughs here that have come out in the recent past with FDA approval. That's DeepMind's OCT analysis, which is an AI application that identifies more than 50 eye conditions on OCT scans automatically. We've got IDXDR, which is an autonomous diabetic retinopathy detection system, as well as IART, which is also an AI platform for diabetic retinopathy scanning. Looking at, who is making this real, who is participating in that kind of research ecosystem to get us from we've scanned someone's eye in a clinic to we're releasing a device or a therapy to the market. There's three key areas that are participating in this. The first is our academic medical centers or universities. They are, really acting as the front door for clinical trial recruitment. They're also, doing investigator-driven research themselves, which is incredibly important. We also then have the kind of arbitrators of the clinical trial, so those CTMS CRO groups that are sitting in between the AMCs and the life sciences companies. They're doing the manual review and harmonization of trial data, as well as the third-party interpretation of the trial endpoints. And then ultimately, we have obviously our life sciences corporations, so med device, pharma, looking to develop and validate the efficacy of novel treatments, as well as building out enterprise data lakes for secondary reuse. This is a huge focus right now for us and a number of our customers, is using that retrospective data so that you can develop more models, find insights faster and faster, and not having to go out every single time and recruit an entirely new trial. The things that they need are the exact same across all three of these verticals. They need a data management solution. They need a curation solution. So how do I get my data from raw to ready? And then they need tracked provenance of how did I get from, on the far left, subject came into the clinic, got scanned for a clinical trial. Their data helped prove that this drug was working. And how does the Life Sciences Corporation then go ahead and actually apply for FDA approval in a meaningful and expeditious way? These needs are universally shared across. And, called out a few key examples of people who are working in each of these verticals. Some are Flywheel customers, some are not. But all of these people need to work together to actually get to the point, which is point of care and improving patient outcomes. How traditionally are these folks doing this? They need to obviously organize their complex imaging assets with the relevant metadata. For example, here's the scan, but also the diagnostics or the treatments that they've been on, the therapies they've been on before. Any additional metadata that's relevant to understand alongside the actual image findings themselves. And then you need that very critical provenance tracking. So data showed up in the system, it hit this algorithm, which was this version, this person interpreted it, that then went into the next step, and being able to actually trace everything that has happened in the system to that image that ultimately led to whatever asset our customers are working on. Traditionally, what they're going to do is pull together a multi-platform approach. So I'm going to have a solution for capturing the images. I'm going to have a solution that I'm treating as my ETL pipeline that's helping to DID the images and get them corrected and harmonized so that I can actually use them. I'm going to most likely bring in a viewer. That could be a vendor-specific viewer. That could be a general tool that you're trying to use. And as you get to a point where you've generated ground truth and are ready to actually do your machine learning, then you will find your preferred ML ops solution. And then there's going to be another platform in which you're going to have to work to actually collaborate, whether that's inside your institution or externally. The problem with this multi-platform approach is that you, as an institution, have to maintain the connectivity between all of these things. And that really leads to some significant barriers. The first being scale. The amount of data that you need to be successful in driving point of care, insights and and breakthroughs is significant. And so thinking of a team inside an institution having to manage petabytes of data is significant. There's also notable cost related to these things where I am maintaining multiple licenses. I have on a staff in-house that is maintaining all of those and doing the connective tissue. We've got a notable amount of effort where I am employing teams to keep all of these things up and running, keep systems that are not meant to be interoperable working together. And ultimately, it is a bit of a compliance nightmare because every time an image moves between each of these platforms, you lose the provenance. And so it becomes a very significant and laborious process to actually put that story together. And so what Flywheel does is we help bring that all together. So we are the only end-to-end platform for medical image data management, analysis, and AI development, with our main goal being maximizing the value of your imaging data, helping you do all of the things that you need to do quickly so that you can get to what you're actually trying to do as an organization, which is, driving patient outcomes and changes. And so when we think about how Flywheel is doing this with you, we have some core products that we'll be discussing in more depth, but think of us as the foundation on top of your cloud infrastructure. So you've made your decisions around, what is the preferred cloud infrastructure to make you successful in what you're trying to do, and we are the single pane of glass sitting on top of that and helping you do all the things that you need to do with your medical images. And so we have a core offering, we have modules, so additional tools that you can leverage if you would like on top of what we already do kind of as a base data management tool. We have partners that we can, kind of plug in some of their outputs for you to leverage, whether that's a model that you would license or a different type of viewer, because, we have our in-house viewer. If you want to bring in other features like genomic analysis, and then ultimately we allow you to bring all of your customer assets directly to the platform as well. So if you have in-house algorithms or you have custom applications, we can help you bring those in and tie them into the infrastructure that we've got in place so that you are working on one platform that is leveraging all of the things that are important to you to get you from image capture to what we know our customers are looking to do, which is building out those golden data lakes, developing clinical models, or finding that new novel biomarker that could be in a therapy. Flywheel also does this with a focus on regulatory excellence. We know that we are working with patient data. This is incredibly important to be secure and have all of those necessary regulations checked and accounted for. And so what we've done is we've got a number of ways where we are ensuring that you have all of the data you need to understand what's been happening to your data, who's accessed it. Everything is versioned in the system, both files and algorithms. And then we have kind of advanced offerings around 21 CFR validated workflows, whether that's project locking for audit readiness, audit trail views, so I can see what has happened in the system, who has done it, what was the state prior and the state after. You can export an entire audit report. You can also, again, version everything in the system, so you're always confident that that you know exactly what has happened and how you've gotten from point A to point B. We also have multiple product modules, so these are kind of enhanced product offerings on top of the core platform. These are reader studies, which we'll go into more depth with, Jupyter Notebooks, which is a way for you to do your deep analysis kind of directly on the platform. We also have an integration with Azure ML. So if you're trying to do kind of enterprise level ML ops work, we've got an integration there as well. And then, as I mentioned, we also have the audit trail for tracking all of the different changes in the system, giving you a report that could go to the governing bodies that you're working with. And so kind of going back to that view of multi-platform approach. A number of the enterprises that we're working with right now are looking at, okay, here is my build story. Whether that is I'm actually developing the code myself for each of those kind of platform points, or if I'm simply integrating these things together. And what we see is that there's all of this work that has to be done to get you to a point where you can actually kind of bring on your business units or bring on your departments to get working on what you're actually looking to do. And Flywheel currently out of the box does all of these, which takes you from looking at potentially a 3-year roadmap to get to actually executing to really less than a year, where you've got your auth, your cloud infrastructure, the things that are really important for your institution or your enterprise to own. And then you plug us in on top and you can actually get started right away. It reduces about 2+ years of custom development, which really helps accelerate the things that we know our customers are actually looking to do. Looking specifically at the ophthalmology features that we have, I'm going to go over these in more detail, but we have out-of-the-box gears or algorithms that can be used to actually curate your data. So bringing it from raw to ready through automated curation pipelines. So we've got a converter that can bring proprietary formats into a standard DICOM format that can be leveraged easily inside the platform. We also have an out-of-the-box QA gear that goes and kind of reviews the images and flags those that need further investigation. We also have invested heavily in our viewer, specifically around ophthalmology. We have a built-in viewer in the platform that you can launch the images in. We've built features both for fundus and OCT images that are kind of standard practice in the ophthalmology space. So having the ETDRS grid and the 2D MPR on-FOSS with XY aspect ratio stretching and layer annotation snapping and all of the things that you would expect. We also have a framework through our reader task module where you can assign custom image labeling workflows to your experts. This again goes through our built-in viewer. It has a form that is baked directly into the viewer itself that can drive a number of different things, whether that's, getting you to generate new ground truth. I'm trying to train a model that can detect, retinal thickness, for example. We've got a way for you to truly customize that experience with guardrails to ensure that you're getting the best data the first time. You also can, blind readers. We've got multi-reader adjudication, which I'll go into in more depth. You can review the outputs of models that you're developing, open source models, commercial models that you're reviewing. It's a really flexible and powerful module to help you get the labeling that you need done, both qualitative and quantitative. And then lastly, if you've generated your ground truth, you can actually take that data and begin training or building your own models through Jupyter Notebooks or Azure ML. And then we have ways in which you can actually output that and use it in your workflows downstream. So looking at an example of that curation step. So we have a gear that is what we call containerized algorithms that is out of the box, available to all of our customers. That helps extract these OCT and fundus images from the proprietary file formats. So it's TopCon, Heidelberg Zeiss, taking these formats and harmonizing them together. If you think about traditionally how you would be working with a data lake, for example, you are going to have images coming off multiple instruments from multiple institutions, from different protocols, of different ages, right? And so the first main step is, yes, we have to de-identify the images, but we have to get them to a single harmonized state where they can actually be used together. And this is one example of a gear or an algorithm that Flywheel offers that helps you get through that first step. As I mentioned, One of the other powerful aspects of the platform is that we can also help you bring your algorithms in. This could be, step one of a pipeline. And then step two, you could have, whatever special sauce you want to put on top of the images as well. We also have a scientific solutions team that can be contracted to build algorithms for you. So if there is a specific need that you have, we have experts, PhD experts in-house that can develop those for you, and kind of help augment your team as you begin to build. For thinking about kind of OCT specific workflows, there is a number of things that we've done specifically around unlocking your OCT work. So we've got the 2D NPR on phos view that we're generating from the actual retinal layer scans. We've got the ETDRS grid directly on top of that with the ability to toggle the visibility on and off. As I'm scrolling through, I find the foveal center. I lock the ETDRS grid in. I can then go and look at each of those rings and segments and review the pathology and anatomy inside those. We've also got ways to do calibration and layer snapping. So if I'm annotating my layers and a layer that is meant to be above another layer crosses that line, it automatically will snap that annotation. Really just trying to expedite any workflow that you would be doing around manual labeling of the images. And we also have an OCT scale display as well. For fundus images, we also have a handful of viewer features out of the box available to our customers. We've got the ability to do that stereo fundus hanging protocol where you've got both loaded up simultaneously side by side. The stereo pair is locked in a read-only hanging protocol, so you're not accidentally annotating the wrong image. We've got RGB channel filtering to unlock the ability to further investigate different findings, which is critical. And then we also have a fundus ring display for understanding the scale of certain findings on the fundus itself. Another really important feature that Flywheel offers and has actually used at scale across a number of our large pharma customers today is this blinded reader study module. So as I mentioned, this can all be customized. So the goal is that everything that does not need to be displayed to the user is hidden. They are truly walked step by step through what you are looking to have them do. And we make it so that every step takes less clicks and less of a decision-making process on the expert's behalf. So as we look at this, we've got a viewer form that is baked directly inside the viewer. As I'm answering questions, you can use conditional logic to then display. So if I am asking about a particular pathology and they say, no, it is not present, then we don't need to ask them any additional questions that would be relevant to that finding. But if they do say yes, then you can go ahead and ask those questions. We have validation for completeness. So you can say, I'm requiring an answer for all of these questions. If I'm an expert that then tries to go and actually submit that work back, but I have not answered that question, I will get an error. It will bring me back up to where I missed a step and will let me ultimately submit once I've completed all of my required actions. Another really valuable aspect here is that as I'm going through, I can actually drive viewport actions based on the way that I've answered the form. So here's an example where we're displaying, is Bruch's membrane present? Yes. Okay. My tool type automatically changes to the tool that the designer has chosen. So I want them to use, in this example, an open freehand tool. I am driving what label should be applied to the annotations that they make. I can customize the color of that annotation. So across the board, I'm always seeing Bruch's membrane as green, regardless of what user applied that. I can also get even more in depth around how I'm restricting the ability of the user to do anything that I would not be interested in gathering. So, for example, if I only want them to annotate Bruch's membrane one time, then I can limit it to they can only draw it once. If I wanted to say, Bruch's membrane should be above RPE, I can set that. And so we really get to a point where it is almost impossible for end users to not provide the information that you're looking to have. And this has been a very critical step for us in terms of expediting that ground truth generation and making sure that the data you're getting back the first time is the highest quality you can. We also have the ability to do that visual adjudication. More often than not, we're seeing that our enterprise partners and customers are looking to have multi-reader interpretations, sometimes on the magnitude of 10 imaging experts interpreting each scan. And you have to go and actually decide who is correct. Do I need to bring in a tiebreaker? Do I want to just simply average all of them together and take that view? That is traditionally a post-processing step. You're doing that more in an analytic view. But when you do find images or interpretations that need to be compared, we have this great adjudication view where you can actually overlay each of their annotations, segmentations, hover over the avatars, see who interpreted what, as well as looking at how they assessed the image via the form. So what was the percent agreement across all of the experts? In this example, all three agreed that Bruch's membrane was present. I think that would be hard for people to to disagree on. But you can go and actually see how did they interpret the things, what was the percent agreement, and that can help expedite the way that you make your decisions on whose ground truth should be brought forward in terms of your model development. So looking at, brief overview kind of what Flywheel offers specifically around ophthalmology, we are a medical imaging company, so we work outside of ophthalmology as well. But, really our goals are to help you accelerate the time to value, doing the things that take 90% of the time and cutting that down significantly so you can get to doing the work that you actually want to do. So how do we do that? We help you build automated curation pipelines that move your real world data from raw to ready in a consistent and harmonized way, whether that's with gears that we provide out of the box or helping you to build your own and bring them in. We've also got ophthalmology-specific viewer tooling that allows users to interact and review data easily, directly on the platform. So no more need for you to download that image to your desktop, load it up in your preferred viewer, then you have got multiple copies. It really helps by having it all locked in together in one platform. We also have that guided quantitative and qualitative image labeling through our Streamline reader studies offering, ensuring that you're getting better ground truth data and ultimately better models out of it. We have ways to review those model outputs for refinement and retraining directly inside the platform. And then making it so that you can actually leverage those ophthalmology assets across your enterprise. So if I'm thinking about a traditional workflow where I'm building out, let's say, an AI segmentation model that's trying to find a certain pathology and quantify it, that is something that then, as you've built that, you can go and containerize it as a gear, add it back to your pipelines. And so all data now coming into the platform that is, let's say, an OCT scan, can run through that, and you now have enriched and harmonized metadata to actually go and search across your data lake for. An example would be, I need to find all OCT scans that have intraretinal fluid pockets of this volume. Without a solution like Flywheel, where we are really streamlining that curation and metadata extraction, that would be nearly impossible to do. And so our goal is really to help you manage your data and leverage any of those assets that you are generating to help make your data lake more and more valuable as time goes on. A couple kind of key wins that I'll just call out as we wrap up here. With our ophthalmology features and things that we've talked about today, we've got a major biopharma company that has found a 90% cost savings in each of their image labeling studies for OCT and fundus by using our platform, which has been incredible for them. And then we also have expert annotators at a university that we're affiliated with to capture, curate, and evaluate images for industry-sponsored trials. So kind of across those markets, AMCs, CTMS, CROs, and the life sciences groups, Flywheel is really helping accelerate their work and ensure that they are able to, kind of expeditiously move patient point of care forward, which is why we all do the work that we do, trying to help move things forward. Thank you all for your time. And please, if you're interested, contact us at info@flywheel.io. We would love to talk to you, hear more about your workflows, and see if it's a right fit.